In aviation news, the Punch newspaper is reporting that the Asset Management Corporation of Nigeria, or AMCON, has reached an advanced stage towards launching a multi-billion naira airline by pooling together its aviation assets, especially planes in debt-ridden Arik Air and Aero Contractors Airlines. The new international airline, to be named Nigeria Eagle, may take to the skies with at least 10 planes as early as June, according to insiders who spoke on condition of anonymity because they were not authorized to speak on the matter. So here is Nigeria's year-on-year inflation. In Lagos State in December was recorded at 14.05%. How would that affect foreign investors seeking returns in Nigeria's commercial capital? Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu will have to answer that question today as he leads members of the Lagos State Executive Council to make a strong pitch to British businesses and policymakers in a new push to attract foreign direct investment into Lagos State. The governor will present business opportunities in Nigeria and the significance of investing in Lagos as a keynote speaker at a virtual event organized by the United Kingdom's Institute of Directors. And Nigerians are still digesting the latest inflation figures released by the Bureau of Statistics, which read a 32-month high of 15.75% last month. Working Nigerians who spend a portion of their December salaries on Christmas shopping have 2 weeks left in January, considered psychologically to be the longest month of the year, grapple with the continued rise in food prices, with food inflation reaching a new year high of 19.56% in December. Our Rice business analyst Chikambonu joins me now in the studio to discuss the food inflation. You don't look like you need this inflation figure, do you? You are well fed.
Yeah.
So you are the wrongest person to discuss inflation.
These days, when we send our wives or stewards or cooks to the market, we would usually think that become more profligate. And because the Naira is, we just realize, is buying fewer, doesn't go too far away, too far again.
Yeah.
And so you think that you will see wives and cooks and stewards protesting that they're genuine, they have not done anything bad, they are not cheated, but just because of the fact that the Naira doesn't go for far again, not surprisingly, with headline inflation coming in at 15.75. And the thing about Nigerian inflation is, do recall there are two components of it, the core inflation and the food inflation.
Yeah.
And the food inflation is almost hugging 20%. And I think 19.56, and so you will find that is very torturous for the economy, and is a problem. And then if you look at the fact that the north of Nigeria still the food basket of the nation, we just need to go to the Mile 12 market to see the number of trailers that are coming down from the north. But you see, the issues there include the fact that one, at the farms, you and me know what's happening. Let's look at the issue of flood. There's a lot of flood this year. Then two, the issue of insecurity at the farms. Farmers are scared of going to farm to harvest, even plant their crops. Now, those they harvest, again, they have to move it down south there, especially. And you find the issue again, the roads are not very safe again. A lot of people are dying on the roads. People are being kidnapped on the roads.
With some illegal guys tolling.
And then they're tolling. Extorting. And then the other thing also, even the manage to do that, the roads are not even in good condition. And so that's where also the issue of the railway option comes in. Assuming the Port Harcourt-Maiduguri railway is sorted out, and even the Lagos-Kano one is sorted out, this may help in the transportation food logistic costs in coming down. And so food is a major element.
I think, for me, I think the greatest problem has to do with the insecurity that the farmers can't stay on farms. And we're hearing reports of folks leaving their farms in Benue State, Niger State, and elsewhere, coming down to Lagos and just decide to go to the market and start trading instead of being on the farm.
So
look at those dozens of farmers, rice farmers that were killed.
The farmer stock is being depleted.
Seriously?
Because of this.
So even if we have the speed rail to move the goods, who produced the products, the farm products that were put on the rail? For me, the rail is good.
The number one thing is security.
I think number one is security. If folks if we don't fix that, I think it's a major component in which, and I remember the Ngozi Okonjo when she says this whole insurgency will take about 0.5% off our GDP. That was back in 2013,
and it's taking more than that. And see, we, the analysts, had thought that the harvest season comes in usually October, November, December. And we thought that will moderate. With the harvest, that will moderate the inflation. But this year, we didn't see the impact of the harvest.
No.
Because of what you just said. The farms have been abandoned.
Yeah.
Farms have been abandoned.
Across the board. And again, I know that as an analyst, when problems begin to happen, it takes months and months for it to materialize. That also.
And to impact on in the houses and the markets.
So if we look at food inflation, which was about 19.5% in December, some were expecting that the partial land border reopening to reduce food prices, which, according to President Buhari, did not order until December 17th. Do you think the partial border reopening will help mitigate?
Yeah, we believe so. But, the impact, it happened in the middle of December. So the impact, it didn't feel the impact much on December inflation analysis. Okay. But we hope that as we move into 2021 that we are in now, that impact will be felt. Because there's a demand gap. There's a supply gap. And so that will hopefully be met from across the border. And we'll start moderating the prices, hopefully.
The demand push is really getting high.
Yeah, getting high, yeah.
So what about what does the inflation mean for interest rates offered to... It's a no-brainer, isn't it?
Some of us study the relationship between interest rate and inflation in school. And we need to have another degree to be able to study inflation.
Because what you studied back then
is all gone. With the Nigerian financial market, it's always very funny because you will find out that, the real interest, they'll teach us that, that interest rates should lead inflation so that your investment return will be positive. But Nigeria here, with treasury bills hugging below 1% and inflation at 15.75, you find it's actually negative. The
distance between the two, one is long, way above the curve.
But the problem is this, so what do we do? Because investable outlets are limited, and the treasury market is almost nil. Deposit rates in banks is almost nil. So the money market is, as you know, is almost gone. So what happened is everybody pushed towards the stock market.
Yes.
And the stock market has been looking at a beautiful bride. Because I keep saying that you have seen the appreciation in the stock market, not based on fundamentals. Fundamentals I've been talking about that. It's not as if
the economy.
The economy has grown, output has grown, the
productivity level
has gone high. The companies have developed new products or new resources or new services, which has impacted their inherent value, and therefore the share prices will go up. That has not happened. It has to do with the fact that a lot of investment have been chased away from the money market, and they have been pushed to the...
So there's so much money chasing few assets that are solid as stocks, by the way.
And then you'll find, because of the way the stock market is organized, with the kind of demands they have, every day they have to have appreciation of the prices.
Yes.
And so the fundamentals are not there, that you see productivity has risen. And that's major.
So as inflation at a runaway level, how do we slow it down? How do we...
Look at elements there. Look like some inputs to inflation.
Yes.
Look at now, diesel prices we know are going to go up because of the fact that oil prices are going up. Remember, oil prices are moderating towards 60%, $60 a barrel.
Yes.
And so concurrently, diesel prices are going to go up. Fuel prices, the finance minister has said there's no subsidy in the budget. Therefore, fuel prices are going to go up. Electricity prices are going to also be an input into that. Exchange rate is because a lot of inflation is import-led. Exchange rate is also going up. So what you can only see is that the elements, the inputs into inflation are all going high. And as we said, how do we moderate that? Do we have the output to moderate that? And that becomes a major problem for us.
Let's switch gear and talk about AMCON trying to set up a national airline.
This has been on the table, or let's say on the table.
Is it going to be legally realistic?
It's going to be a problem because
with the owners of Aviation,
like I talked about, apart from that also, now the news said they're going to take some planes from basically strip the assets of Arik and Aero, and then domicile them in the new Nigerian Eagle.
Yes.
But the issue is, let's put it this way, if Arik and Aero have a lot of massive liabilities. Now, if these liabilities are backed by all asset debenture, and you know that the planes of these companies, or this Arik must be included in the all asset debenture.
Yes.
So how do you strip them and domicile in this Nigerian Eagle. It's going to be a problem.
It's going to be a tough legal issue.
I have tried to reach out to people in AMCON to find out how, because this is, it didn't really come from AMCON. It says, people that know say this. To confirm the veracity of this story, but I have not been able to do that. But I'm just looking at the difficulty in that. If you move away the access to AMCON, to this new airline, and leave the liabilities, it's going to be a problem.
South African Airways here is looking for bailout. 100 billion rand. Kenya Airways was one stop from even trading on the stock exchange because it's a whole lot.
Despite the support of KLM at the time.
Air Maroc. Oh, by the way, they're even delinking KLM deal, I think by June this year, from Kenya Airways because it's not working in their favor.
Not working for them.
So is it a good time for AMCON or whoever it is to start proposing?
I've done a lot of travels in Nigeria, and the analysis says only about 10% of Nigerians travel. They travel, people who can travel. And you will find so many limiting factors to investments in aviation. And the owners of airlines have, have shouted to the rooftops several times about that. The limiting factors are facing the existing airlines will also face any Nigerian Eagle that comes on board. And until those things are solved, whatever model they're going to create will also be...
Well, they said it's going to be international.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's likely going to be more of commercial rather than cargo, like Ethiopian Airlines.
Yeah. But, Ethiopian does a lot of... Ethiopian is a combination of commercial and cargo. Yeah, but the beautiful thing about this is that, Ethiopia itself has massive agricultural products, which they move from their country out. So what are going to move from Nigeria out? I'm going to put our oil inside the plane to move it out. That's really the only thing.
Let's talk about the FX liquidity, which is a priority on the minds of foreign investors as they assess Nigeria. What is your exchange rate outlook for this in terms of...
People talk about is the Naira valued, undervalued, or overvalued. Now, so the question you ask yourself is Naira valued or undervalued? At the end of the day, it has to do with the demand and supply for foreign currency and the sentiments involved. Oil has been dragging at lower $40. Now, oil, by God's grace, we're praying hard that it moves to $60. And that gives the CBN governor some leeway to be able to fund the official market and clear the backlog of, especially foreign political investor outstandings, and also meet the FX needs of a lot of manufacturers. Once those sentiments comes back to the market, the stability they require comes into the market. We have had, and I keep saying in this program that we have that stability post the 2015-2016 recession, and we had a stability almost for 2 years, 2017, 2018, and to early part of 2019, before the onset of...
so we need to dig back into our drawers.
Yeah.
And make something out.
I keep saying also that on the fiscal side, I saw one report that said the revenues were about $3.something trillion Naira, and the government spent about $8.something trillion, deficit of about more than $5 trillion. How are we financing that? So we're using borrowed money to finance recurrent expenditure. We're using borrowed money even to pay the debt servicing.
It looks like
and those are fundamental problems for our economy.
It looks like a cul-de-sac.
Big problem for our economy.
Thank you so much, Arise Business Analyst.